Jefferson climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness!
What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Rump Here Sports, bringing it to you once again. We got the Strokes Gain Show. I'm here with the two fellas. We got Snyder, we got Locks. Coming off, for me, not a good week. I'm ready to rebound though, guys. I'm ready to bring it this week. Sometimes you have to get humbled, before you bring it. But members absolutely crushed this week. Snyder, Locks, your guys' stuff was on point. Big T's stuff was on point. Rubio, our guy Rubio, crushed. Again, it was a fun week in the golf streets. Not for me. I had a good Sunday, actually. Showdown was good, but main slate was it was hurtful. Locks, let's bring you in, man. How was your week last week?
Yeah, doing okay. It was okay. I continue to just get crushed by like one dude every single week. Last week it ended up being Streel Daddy. I woke up to a streak, just like, the guy comes out on fire on the first day. I'm like, okay, this is going to be awesome. And then just lets us down completely. Him and Morikawa just letting us down on the number a little bit there. So it is what it is. We move on. We pick winners the next week, and that's what we're here to do. When you're close and you can tell you're close, well, then your time's coming. So it's coming one of these weeks. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one with the Rocket Mortgage, a birdie fest. Snyder, let's bring you in, man. How was last week? How are you feeling about the Rocket Mortgage tournament this week?
Last week was pretty good for me. Aside from the Morikawa deal, I think I had like 35% of him, which was pretty much one of the only guys that had missed the cut. So I had a lot of opportunities. Did all right on the main slate. I think it was maybe a plus like 30% profit. But Underdog was really good, though, too. Hit a few big plays over there for the members and such. And then hit a decent one. I talked to you on that one of those showdown shows that Scotty Scheffler was plus money to top 10 after the second round for shot even par. And after the third round, he was all the way up to like minus 500 to top 10. So that was a good hit as well. I loaded up on that, probably too much more than I should have, but it worked out. So I'm ready to jump into this Rocket Mortgage, where we do have a few names in this field. Like, I thought it was going to be completely lesser talent in this field, but we've got a couple names up top, so it'll be interesting to dive into this with you guys.
We do have a few names up top. We have a few guys that have been horrible putting. We're going to talk about. I'm going to make my case for one guy. We'll see what you guys think of this, but it's a birdie fest this week. It's the Rocket Mortgage Challenge. We're talking. What won it last year? Finau won it 26 under, I think, off the top of my head, 26, 27 under. Scam Davis, Scam as some of us call him, won it the year prior. Nate Lashley was the guy who won, and he was an alternative, I believe, right? Alternate? Wasn't that right, Snyder? Wasn't he like on the waiting list and then someone dropped out? He got in 19, ended up winning. So these birdie fests are interesting. You can see kind of a lot of variance, a lot of wild leaderboards. Snyder, give us a course breakdown this week. What should we expect?
Yeah, I've got a quick little breakdown here from Detroit Golf Club. It's going to measure 7,370 yards. It's going to play as a par 72. Average size greens here at around 5,200 square feet on average. They're going to be rolling at around 11 on the stent meter, so maybe a little slower than we've seen the past few weeks. So golfers are only going to see one hole with water in play here. 87 bunkers are going to litter the property here. We saw Bryson go do his long drive challenge or whatever. He incorporated it here as he was just launching the ball over these fairway bunkers that are only about 290 from the tee. So he just launched them over that and had really good success here. We're going to see more shorter par fours here as well, with an emphasis on wedge play once again here this week. The fairways are going to be around 30 yards wide on average here. We've seen that bomb and gouge method work pretty well here, as I mentioned, kind of with the Bryson deal. There's really no penalty for missing the fairways here. It's not that bad. Last year, 16% of the approach shots came from inside 100 yards, which is well above the tour average at 10%. To have success here, you'll need to have a hot putter here. It's been more of a putting contest as of late. Some other key stats we're looking at: strokes gained off the tee, approach with an emphasis on 100 to 125 yards. Birdies are better percentage, par 5 scoring, and then putting.
Mute, rookie.
Oh, you're on mute.
Rookie mistake. Drink. Take a drink. I know it's the afternoon. There you go, Snyder.
I got you.
So on that note, the putting contest, this is something I went back and I looked the last 4 years. I looked at all the top 10 finishers, and I wanted to see from a strokes gain perspective, how did it look? And then not only that, because that's going to reveal that you got to make putts and you got to hit good iron shots. Not only that, but then I looked at how were the top 10 finishers coming, how was their form coming in? And it was actually quite mixed. Like Tony Finau, when he won, he was bringing in really good form. He actually was putting out of his mind. Right now, he's putting terribly. Like his putter is just gone. I mean, worse than JT's. It's really interesting. But then you have other guys who have brought in really poor putting form, who then gained a ton of strokes here putting. So and that's what happens at these birdie fests, these easier scoring tracks. These top guys, these good golfers, all it takes is one putt, two putts going in, and that can be the light that you need. So I thought that was interesting. So am I looking at like in-form putters coming in? Not really. I would rather have people that have proven historically that they can go low, and I want good iron play coming in because I think the iron play is a little bit more consistent than your putter. Now, again, am I just reaching, trying to make a case for my boy JT? We'll see. We will see. Last week, every shot he had, it seemed like, was inside 10 feet. It was insane. His irons were on point. I think he gained the most strokes on approach out of anyone in the field. I was really hurt because I fired that top five. I think it was 12 or 11 to 1. It was prior to his round of 62, and he was one stroke off, and then he bogeyed the last hole just on tilt. So he lost. He missed it by 2 strokes. But I think he gets it done for us this week. But we will see how we do it. We're going to go tier by tier, starting with the studs up top using DraftKings pricing. I'm going to start with my guy, Snyder. Snyder, what do you do with the top tier? It's Justin Thomas, 10K, all the way up to Tony Finau. Then we got Ricky Fowler right in the middle, who's going to profile his chalk this week.
Yeah, we've got a weird, interesting top range here. Is a lot of these guys are entering with pretty bad form over the last couple of months. I mean, the only case you can make is Fowler. I mean, he's been on point there. 4 straight top 15s. Missed the cut the PGA, but then was top 15 the event before that. I think a lot of ownership is going to gravitate towards Ricky. And then JT, I think, up top. I think they're both going to be around 25% or greater ownership this week. Everybody saw JT pop last week with the irons. He gained over 7 strokes approach last week, but it was once again another down week with the putter. He hasn't gained strokes putting. He's only gained strokes putting once since the API back in, March? So it's interesting with the iron, with the putter here. If he can hit everything inside the 10 feet again, he's definitely going to be up there in the top 10 going into Sunday again. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. If he becomes chalk and Fowler becomes chalk, I'll probably just play Ricky just because of his recent form. And then we've got like Max Homa and Morikawa at right around 10 to 15%, I think. Morikawa actually played. He had this. He tied for the second best round last week on Friday, but he had just an abysmal Thursday where he shot like 4 over. Comes back with a 63 on Friday, but I think that's going to kind of get washed away. The iron play was much, much better Friday, so I think I could go to Morikawa at about half the ownership of possibly a JT. I mean, he's going to be $600 more, which is going to push ownership away from him. I think Finau is still going to see a little bit up top. I'm not going to go to Finau. I think it's going to be Fowler and Morikawa for me up top, though. I think the way I look at it, I guess I could possibly get off of Fowler if the ownership becomes like really high, like 30% or higher. But it'd be interesting to watch this over the next day or so to see what kind of comes to fruition there.
I think so. Okay. I think full fading Fowler just on the premise of like high ownership is a bad move this week, mainly because the guy's been a birdie machine, and that's what you want here. I mean, the guy almost shot a 59 last week. And what did he do at the U.S. Open? He made a billion birdies. I mean, the guy is dialed when it comes to scoring. There's not a lot of trouble here. So there's not a lot of trouble that Ricky can get into. There's not a lot of doubles. If you're making a lot of birdies and you're not making a lot of bogeys or doubles, which very few people make doubles here, you're gonna have a nice score.
Yeah.
So like I think Rick, ownership always gets capped too. Like I think maybe he reaches 30. I mean, if he reaches 30, it means that Tony Finau is going to be under. Morikawa is going to be under. Homa definitely feels like the guy that's getting squeezed up there. It'll be interesting. Locks, what are you doing with this range? Top tier in DraftKings.
Yeah, looking up here, it's interesting. I'm pretty much in lockstep with Snyder for the most part. I think obviously JT and Fowler are going to get steamed here, which is totally fine. They're my two favorite plays up here, if I'm being honest with you. I do like them. I think Fowler, I agree with you. I don't care. Even if he gets to 30, 35%, I'm not fading him. I think he's just a great play here. The dude just is a birdie machine lately. He's going to win one sooner or later, and why not at the Rocket Mortgage, honestly? So I'll be playing a ton of him. I definitely like JT. I'm always with you there. It was nice to see him kind of bounce back for us quite a bit there on the weekend. Looked so much better. So hopefully he found something and gets the putter going a little bit. And then, Morikawa is my only other interest up here. I'm going to cross off Finau and Homa personally. They're not even going to be in my pool. So for me, it's probably Fowler, Morikawa, Thomas in that order. Just in that order for me. Morikawa I do like just for the fact of I think he's going to be the lowest owned out of all five of these guys. And he let us down last week. Missed the cut on the number just because he had a bad first round. So I think he bounces back for us. Yeah,
I think this top tier is interesting. And as we were talking before the show, I mean, you guys kind of know my strategy. In MME formats, I don't always do this, but I'm really just tempted to lock someone up top. And what that will do is force me to be under naturally on, everyone else in that range. And who am I going to lock? I mean, Justin Thomas is who I'm looking at. Let me explain why. So I faded him last week, kicking myself for doing so. And it's not like I've been like super high on him this year. He's been struggling, but I've been playing him because it hasn't taken much to get overweight the field. The guy hit like everything inside 10 feet that last week. If we play off the narrative that bad putters can do well here, that bodes well for Justin Thomas. What else is Justin Thomas good at? If you look at easy scoring tracks or birdie fests and start with the timeline of last 24, last 30, then go last 36, last 50, last 100. I know 100 rounds, it's massive sample size. We're not going to use that. The dude just blows everyone away in this field. The guy knows how to score on easy courses. We haven't seen him here at all. I just think after what I saw at the Travelers, he struggled with the putter, but it's easier to putt here than it is at the Travelers. I think he goes low, and I think he just stays dialed. I think he found something with the irons, and I want to lock him in. And I already looked at it, so like there's a lot of value plays that I'm going to like, and that we're going to talk about. You can play a JT Ricky. You could play a JT Morikawa. For me, my fades are Max Homa and Tony Finau. I'm a little worried about full fading Homa. And my decision is going to come because I do like some guys down in the 9K range as well. And we can't play everyone. Homa definitely just seems like something's like a little bit off with him. Like with Justin Thomas, he needs to be motivated. He's still like 70th or 68th, I believe, in the FedEx standings. I mean, this guy needs another high finish, if not a win, to really get in there for the playoffs. So he's plenty motivated. That's the reason why he's playing the event this week. And you could see it on 17. He hit it again inside 10 feet. And I was sweating this close because of the $500 bet I had on him at 11-1 to finish T5 or better. I mean, he showed so much emotion when he missed that putt. And so that tells me he's just grinding. And I like that. Do I like him missing putts? No, I don't like that at all. But at least there's emotion there. If there wasn't emotion there, it would tell me that he doesn't care. And I'd definitely be a little bit more nervous. But I like the fire that I saw in him. And Justin Thomas, I know everyone's probably like, oh, surprise, surprise. But I haven't locked him at all this year. And I'm telling you, in MME formats, I think I'm just all in. I'll be all in on him. I'll be sweating him each day in Discord, tilt or being all happy. But JT is going to be my guy this week. I think an easy track, terrible field. He's going to light this track up. So it's JT, and then Ricky's my second favorite up there because it's like Ricky's – dude, the guy's a birdie machine right now. I can't fade that. I'm willing to eat some chalk there. So that's where I'm at with this top-tier range. Let's go down to the 9K guys. One guy down here, I also think maybe you found a little bit of something. Really curious to see what you guys have to say on Sung Jae In. Sung Jae In, another guy notorious for putting up good rounds on easy tracks in bad fields. Go look at Sung Jae In. Look at where he does all of his damage. It is bad fields, easy tracks. Snyder, what are you doing in the 9K range?
Yeah, I think we see ownership kind of spread out a little bit here. I think Tom Kim, Hideki, and Sung Jae are all going to be approaching 20%, maybe even greater than 20 to 25%. I like Tom Kim probably the best up here. If he could just play the holes 10 through 12 better last week, I mean, he would have been right there at the top of the leaderboard. Holes 10 through 12 last week. I think he played them at 12 over par last week. I mean, they just completely owned him. He was 5 over on his third round alone on those three. He went bogey double-double to kind of take himself out of consideration there. But he finished 7th at this event last year. I think I like Tom Kim. I think he'll be the lowest of Hideki and Sung Jae. So I'm going to go with Tom Kim as my top option. And then I've been playing Hideki every week, it seems like, for the last couple of months. So I'm going to go right back to Hideki. He's gaining nearly a full stroke approach over on the average over his last 36 rounds and 1.5 strokes tee to green. Just needs to find that putter, and I think he could do that here. He's got a couple of decent finishes here. I really like his greens and regulation. He's hitting about 70% of greens and regulation on average. It's been pretty solid off the tee as well. So I think Hideki is my second favorite in this range. And then I really like going down to, I guess, where is he? Yeah, Harris English. Is Harris English withdrawal? Yeah, he did. I just seen that thing. That's hurtful. Yep. I was going to play Harris English pretty heavy. I see he just must have withdrew, which is very hurtful there. Cam Davis.
You can still play him, Snyder. It just might not get you any points.
It's just no good there. Cam Davis will probably see some ownership now. That'll probably gravitate towards him. I think he'll probably be 15%. I won't be playing Keegan off the win. So it's pretty much just Tom Kim and Hideki for me now in this 9K range. I was going to be very heavy on Harris English if he had played, but I guess no worries. No need to worry about that now.
The Keegan one is interesting because this track, it's so easy and the guy's in form. And naturally, I do this as well. I just naturally fade guys coming off a win. I don't know if I'm going to do that this week. I think it's an interesting discussion because we're going to naturally get them really low on because of that win. And I think the guy was dialed last week. I know it was a home course track or whatever. But Locks, what are you doing with the 9K range?
Yeah, there's only a few here. So, I mean, it's quick and easy for me. It's 3 guys. I'll cross off the other 2. I'm with Snyder. I'm crossing off Bradley. Yeah, I mean, the guy looks stellar. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, he was at home, whatever. He probably soaked it up with the family and stuff. I think he's going to have a little jet lag here.
He gained putting last week as well. There's no way he's going to do that again. Guess what he gained last week putting?
I don't even want to know. Probably like 4.
Over 7 strokes gained putting last week.
Almost double that, Jesus. Yeah, I mean but still, I mean, you got to be putting it on the greens and stuff to be able to make those putts. So yeah, if you want to go back there, I'm okay with it. I just personally, I'm not. I'm crossing him off. I'm crossing Cam Davis off. I'm not playing Cam Davis at $9,300. I know good course history, yada yada yada, but he always just ticks me off when he's chalk. So if he's gonna be chalky or anything, I'm just going to cross him off. For me, it's Tom Kim. It's Hideki for me. And then I'll sprinkle in a little Sung Jae. I am with the AP. I think he might have possibly found something. So I am interested there. I mean, if this guy can get his irons back dialed in, look out. He can blow away any field at this type of an event. So definitely some interest there. But for me, it's Tom Kim and Hideki.
Yeah, one other thing, too, that I like about Sung Jae is he gained in all major statistical categories that we look at: tee to green, off the tee, approach, around the green and putting last week. And he's actually gained strokes putting in his last 5 of his last 6 events. He just needs to, like, the problem has been his approach, and he was positive in that area last week. And you get an easy track, one that he finished inside the top 10 last year, a weak field, less pressure, needs to get a couple more top finishes. I think it's a week for, again, he's going to be chalk, but I think it's a good Sungjae M week. Tom Kim as well. I think he had that one bad round. Outside of that, I mean, this is another guy who, he's a 2-time winner already, right, Snyder? Two wins, not 3. Yeah. And they came at, I believe, weak field events, or he's always popped in these weak field events. So another guy, again, chalk, I'm willing to eat that. It's going to be fine. I'm going to be significantly overweight on 1 or 2 players, maybe 3, and then I'm going to open it up and mix and match. And so I'll find ways to get different. I'll find ways to get leverage on the field, even though I'm eating some chalk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, AP. It's just you talking about locking people. I actually thought about locking Fowler and Tom Kim, and then just getting different everywhere else.
I like that.
Because honestly,
I like that a lot.
You still got $74.50 a player after that. I mean, you got plenty of room to build. I've been tossing and turning on doing that possibly.
Yeah, I mean, this whole range right here is really strong. Harris going out, obviously. I think Keegan I have to play him just because I think he's going to be really low owned. Maybe the Harris English money goes up to him. I think it also could go to Brian Harmon or Aberg down below a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Because, Snyder, I'm with you. I think Cam Davis gets some ownership, past winner here. Sungjae, Hideki, all these guys are going to get some ownership. Where we get different is going to be more so in the 8, 7K, and 6K range, potentially. And that's where the difference makers is going to be. So love this range. Again, I think you're going to want to play some of these guys, or at least try to get overweight. My preference is Sungjae M by quite a bit. Then it's Tom Kim, then Hideki, then Cam Davis and Keegan. I'm pretty close on as well. So it's weird that I don't yet truly have like a true fade in this range. It actually was going to be Harris English, just because I don't like in Birdie Fest. I always like him on tougher tracks, grind out par. Par is of little value this week. We want birdies. So that's where I'm at this week. If you haven't yet hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it. Helps us out a lot over here at Run Pure Sports. We do have a promo going on, Summer 33. Get you 33% off any package, Saber Sim included. And we got a lot coming up. So we got Summer League. I know Kurt and Rubio are literally going to Vegas, and they're going to be sitting sidelines. They're going to be getting information there in Vegas where they hold the Summer League basketball. We have a new playbook coming out just for Summer League. We're going to have a nice edge there. We got Wimbledon next week. I will be heavily involved in that. We're going to be doing daily shows. I'll be on it. We'll get spread. I forget who else. We got a couple other people coming on, one surprise guest as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Use the code SUMMER33. Sign up right now. Let's keep it going, though. Let's get down to the 8K range. Snyder, I'm going right back to you. Again, a pretty good range. Aberg's been an absolute stud. Brian Harmon, this dude was on fire last week. Can he do it again? Can he do it back-to-back weeks? So what are you doing with the 8K range?
Yeah, there's a couple names I like down here. I'm going to just go right back to Austin Eckroat. I've been playing him pretty much every event with no avail there. I mean, he's been just pretty much a printer for a value play. He's up in the 8K range now, but that doesn't bother me. He's been 30th or better, and he's had 2 top 10s his last 5 starts. I like going right back to Eckroat. I don't care. I think he'll probably be like 15% owned maybe, but that's not enough for me to even worry about. Alex Smalley's another guy who's kind of been heating up. 4 top 25s his last 6 events. His only missed cut came at the Memorial. The ball striking has been very good for him. He's gained 8.8 strokes last week at the Travelers, and 4 or more in 5 of 6. He's gained strokes putting in his last 2 events too. So I think Alex Smalley is starting to kind of heat back up again. I'll be back on him. Chris Kirky hasn't been playing that good. He doesn't have the good form, but he's got great course history here, a 17th, a 12th, and 21st. I may get to him. I'm not sure. Adberg was the guy I was on last week. Solid there. A couple top 25s his last two events. I think he's a solid option. 8,700 should kind of keep his ownership in check, I think. Maybe around 12 to 15%. I could see him coming in at Tom Hoagie's there too. Seb Straka, Benny On. There's some pretty good names here. Adam Hadwin finished fourth here in 2020. I'm not sure if I'll get there. I think I just like Eckroat a little more. Seb Straka can get hot. He can make tons of birdies. He's had a couple of good finishes here as well. He hasn't been good the last 2 years, but he was 8th and 11th back in 2020 and 2019. I think he's a great GPP option there. If you're going to like 150 or something, I definitely think you want to have some Seb Straka in your lineups.
Yeah, very good. Pretty solid range this week. Aberg, he's been a stud. Again, Eckroat's been kind of a hero for us too. So I think he's finally going to start getting some ownership. I mean, the guy just hits fairways. Like, he's just so solid off the tee. His irons have been, on point too. And he brings in a putter that is trending in the right direction too. So this seems like potentially, I don't want to say a breakout event because he already has a T2 at the AT&T Byron Nelson, but you got to think he's somewhat live to win. Like, if we don't think one of these top guys are winning, I would not be surprised if it was Austin Eckroat, because he's been right there. I mean, a couple top tens. It seems like he's very often inside the top 25. Locks, what are you doing with this 8K range?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not going to be playing a ton of this range. There's a lot of 7K guys that I like this week. It's loaded there. So there's a few names in here I can't cross off just because I will be playing a ton of them, and that's Eckroat and Benny On. I'd say those are probably my two favorite guys down here. I think in an event like this, birdie machines, I mean, they can compete here. Eckroat's looked awesome. Benny On, approach game, irons, everything looks great. He just can't putt. He just needs a week that those are going to fall. I think those can fall here. I think you're going to see a great performance from him. So I think Benny On and Eckroat are must-haves in my pool. And then for me, just course history-wise, Chris Kirk, I have to throw in a little bit of him. He's looked awful. Don't get me wrong. I really want to cross his name off, but then I see the course history, and we know his talent. So anytime, I mean, when you're in a funk, you almost need a course like this to get back on track, and maybe that's what it takes for him. So I'll definitely have a little bit of Chris Kirky in there. And then Stefan Jaeger, I've been playing this guy all year. He continues to produce. I mean, 64th last week, but 5th here last year. Tee to green wise, just a stud as well, and needs to find the putter. So I'm okay going to him at 8,900 at under 10% ownership as well. But for me, it's probably Benny On, Eckroat, and then Jaeger, Kirk in that order.
Yeah. Hard to disagree with any of those calls right there. For me in this range, I mean, Benny On is just, he checks so many boxes for me, especially if you're playing on the narrative that historically some bad putters can do well here. We've seen it. Again, it's mixed. You want guys with a hot putter. It becomes a putting contest. But when you're playing like him, this dude is he's gained a ton of distance, like with his driver. He's sneaky. Like he's up there. Like when I was looking at it, I was actually kind of caught off guard. He ranks 5th in driving distance. And this is a field where we have a lot of young guys in this field, way down the 6K range, that on the Korn Ferry Tour and stuff, they absolutely nuke the ball. So Benny On is up there. So he's gonna absolutely bomb it. That's one thing that we want. His iron play has always been fantastic. He ranks 7th in ball striking. He's awesome on par 5s. It comes down to the putter with him, and I like it. I like this track for a guy like him. I think 8,200 is a very fair price tag. I have a ton of interest in Benny On this week. Austin Eckroat as well. I'm going right back to it. I just like, look what this guy's doing. He missed the cut here last year. Maybe that takes people off of him. I think last year's irrelevant relative to how he's playing right now. If anything, what that tells me is he has experience here. He's played this track. I think he comes in, obviously motivated to not miss 2 cuts at an easy track like Detroit Country Club. So Eckroat, again, another guy that I guess win equity has a lot of win equity in this range. And then Chris Kirky, log, I think it was you on him logs. I like him here too. He's kind of struggled, missed 3 cuts in a row, but he's familiar with this track. And I think he gets the putter going. So he's finished T21, T12, T17 here. Chris Kirk in a weak field, good ball striker. I think he takes advantage, and I think he becomes a really strong play. Harmon is the one I'm struggling with. Like he ran so pure last week. Can he do it 2 weeks in a row? I don't know. I mean, Snyder, how long is this track? I mean, significantly longer than last week's, right? I mean, it's an easy track, but
it's 7,300 yards, but it's a par 72 versus a par 70 though.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking, 500 yards longer, 550 longer than last. Like, what was great about Harmon last week is short track. It brought all kinds of short hitters into play. Hobbit season, as Snyder was saying on Tuesday, and we saw Brian Harmon do really well. He's missed 2 cuts here. He has to get some ownership. I mean, Snyder, what do you see in ownership-wise on Brian Harmon?
Around 15%, it looks like. Just checking a couple spots. Yeah, I think right around 15% is where he's going to come in.
Yeah, Harmon could be the guy that I end up getting under on in favor of guys like Aberg, Kirky, Benyon, Eckroat for sure. I'm kind of torn on my boy Sepp Straka. I'm really torn on what to do with him. And then Hoagie's interesting, Smalley's somewhat interesting. But I think my fades are going to be definitely Brian Harmon up there if he ends up getting steamed up, and then most likely Adam Hadwin. I don't play him too much. I mean, the price tag's okay. I don't know. I'll probably be yeah. It was what?
He's got bad win odds
bad
too.
Odds.
Hadwin does.
Yeah.
Looking at like Aberg and Eckroat, Aberg opened at 66-1. He's down to 40-1. Eckroat opened at 70-1. And he's down to 50-1. So a lot of action betting wise is coming in on Aberg and Eckroat.
Mark Green brings up a good point though too. If Nate Lashley can win here, then the short hitters can compete. It's true though. It's true, and I don't know. I'm torn on Brian Harmon.
I think you just talked yourself out of him, AP. Just cross.
I did, but I can talk myself back into him.
Patreon Perry is right.
I do it all the time.
Patreon Perry is right though. He always fails us in these spots. He starts playing good.
I know.
Like, Brian Harmon, then he's like,
he does. He's notorious for doing that. I mean, it's Brian Harmon. Can he do it 2 weeks in a row? That is the question. But outside of that, Eckroat just seems like such a slam dunk play, and then Benyon, my leverage play down here. I think Hogue could be a good leverage play as well. So again, 8K range, a pretty solid range this week. 7K, there's going to be a lot of plays in here as well. Snyder, what are you doing with the 7K range?
Yeah, there's some pretty good names in this range. It's kind of interesting. The first name I look at is Justin Sue. Interesting when you look at his profile and everything. He's made 14 of his last 15 cuts, so he's been making a ton of cuts. But he's been doing it all with the putter. I mean, he's been putting lights out, which you will need here. But the iron play has been up and down as of late. You could take that both ways. You could take it as if the irons come along, he could nuke it and easily win this course. But you could also say if the putter goes away from him this week, that he's definitely going to MC here with the way he's been ball striking it here as of late. So it's kind of an interesting option there. I'll definitely have him in the player pool just because he's been making so many cuts and he's been close to in contention a couple of times. He's had one top 20 there at the Charles Schwab. He's 26th, 27th. He's been all right. He hasn't been great, though, due to the ball striking, though. Some other guys here, Doug Gims, back-to-back top 15s in 4 straight events inside the top 30. The putter's been up and down for him, but the ball striking's been on point, so I like Doug Gims for sure. I really like going back to Mark Hubbard this week as well. He miscut his chalk last week. He comes in at 7,500 this week. I think that's going to, at least last week's miscut being chalk, I think it's going to bring his ownership down lower than it should be. I think he'll probably be, I'm seeing like 10 to 15% right now, so I have no issues going right back to him. He did finish 12th here back in 2020, and he's been playing great golf leading up to that miscut, so I'll be right back on Mark Hubbard for that flop leg there. Ches Reavie didn't play the best on Sunday, but still finished inside the top top 5 last week. So playing some great golf leading into pulling up his deal here. I can't find it. Oh, he's down there. So he hasn't made the cut here recently. If he gets popular, I could be off him, I guess. Stevens, solid option for tournaments. 5 to 7 straight med cuts. And the one guy down here, I think, is the biggest misprice of the whole slate. My favorite play overall is going to be my guy Carson Young. I've been playing him pretty much every week.
Yeah.
I've been top 15 so many times. I put a tweet out about him earlier today. The approach play has been on point. Gained about 8 strokes on approach, and the putter was on point last week as well. He's underpriced. He's a possible lock candidate. If I was going to lock anybody, it'd probably be Carson Young, I think, down here at 7K. Just allows a lot. Dylan Wu, I really like this price tag for the upside as well. But Carson Young's definitely my favorite guy down here with Doug Gim and Mark Hubbard. It's my next 2 guys after him.
Yeah, I really like the Carson Young call. I've been playing him right alongside you. He's treated me very well. I can get on board with that. Locks, pretty big 7K range. What are you doing? Like, are we getting back on our boy Dylan Wu? We got Carson Young down here. Snyder likes him. We got our boy Akshay. And then all the way up to Taylor Moore, Justin Suh. I mean, what are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, I was going to save Carson Young for later, but I'll go 3 for 3 with you guys. I think is a great play. Totally underpriced. You look at his events, like stuff like this, he is hitting the ball so well. I don't know how he's continued to be priced down here. He's been high 6s, low 7s. I'll just continue playing him until he get his price right. So I love that call. I'll get into him a little bit later. I'll start at the top and work my way down because I actually have more interest in these bottom guys. Locks might have a few of these guys down here in the 7K. Lower 7K range. So just looking up here, Taylor Moore, I don't know. He's looked awful lately. He looked good at the beginning of the year, but lately he's been awful. I'll probably stay off of him. No rye for me. I'm skipping most of these guys down here until we get down to JJ Spawn and Mark Hubbard. I'd say those are a couple of my favorites here in this range. Spawn for me, just great course history here. He missed his last cut, not here, but he missed his last cut in the tournament he played. So I think it's going to keep his ownership down. I actually like him at courses like this, so I have a ton of interest there. I like Mark Hubbard. Doug Gim is a great call. Snyder, I'll be on Doug Gim with you as well. I do agree. Obviously, his course history is bad, so people aren't going to play him, but he's been playing some good golf. So I'll go back to him. Nate Lashley, course history-wise, obviously he's won here, so I'll play a little bit of him. Sam Stevens, I do like. It's been a guy I've played a decent amount. He makes a ton of birdies. Hasn't played here, but I don't care about that. Solid player that I think comes in probably around 5% that you can get that can make us a ton of birdies. So interest there. And then going down, I'm not going to be on Luke List. These guys, I don't really have a ton of interest on here. No Svensson for me this week. I might sprinkle in a little bit of Harry Hall. I'll let you maybe talk me into him, AP. I don't know if you're going to be on him or not, but I might have a slight interest there down in this range. But for me, I'm looking at Young, Wu, and Yu. I think Carson Young, Dylan Wu, and Kevin Yu are going to be 3 of my favorite plays this week at 7K flat. A couple or all of them may make it into locks this week. I got a good feeling about those 3 down here. Don't see them getting too highly esteemed. I love the Carson Young call, so I'm with you guys. And then Wu and Yu are my 2 other main points of interest down here.
Yeah, very good. Let me start with Luke List. So he had that stretch. It hasn't been a good year for him at all. He had a stretch where he missed like 6 missed cuts, made a cut at the Valero, but outside of that, like, was just a miscut machine. I mean, when you bring up his player profile, just all the metrics look really bad. More recently, though, since the AT&T Byron Nelson, you're talking he's made 4 of his 5 cuts. He missed the cut at the U.S. Open. He was good at the Memorial, 16th. He gained 6.2 strokes on the field. Tee to green wise, 9.9. And he had 8.2 strokes on approach alone. So the iron's pretty dialed in. Last week at the Travelers, another 3 strokes gained on approach. He gained a stroke and a half putting. You rarely see that with Luke List. Maybe he brings in a little bit of form. We like bombers here. Luke List can absolutely nuke it. The approach game has been solid. And are we starting to see a little bit of life, which is all we need with the putter? I just think down here, if he's going to be 3 to 4% owned, Luke List is someone that I could get on board with. Just the guy, he can absolutely bomb it. Will Gordon, I would put in that same category as him, both 7,100. And before I go back up, let me go back down to the 7Ks because I'm with you guys. There's a lot of good flat 7K plays that I really like. Our boy Akshay, I have a ton of interest in him. This dude is just a machine. I mean, on easy tracks, go back to the Mexico Open. 4th place finish there. Akshay, and more recently when you look at it, but they're on tougher tracks. Even the Canadian Open played kind of tough. I mean, that rough was brutal. We usually think of the Canadian Open as a really easy birdie fest. And that was not the case at all. Get Akshay on an easy track where you can score, he profiles pretty well. Kevin Yu, another guy I really like, who's been playing really good golf as well. One boy I won't try to talk you into, Locks, is Cameron Champ. I mean, this does fit the mold of a Cameron Champ random win. You know what I mean? Like,
I actually thought this was going to be the week you were going to try to talk me into him again.
I mean, he's made 3 or 4 cuts here.
That's what I thought.
He has got a T12. T20 last. I think what you do with Cam Champ is if you're multi-entering, if you're playing a single entry, 3, you don't play him. But if you're playing 150, I think you leave him in the pool because he is a winner. He's won 2 or 3 times on tour, and all of his wins have come out of nowhere. Just literally like 19 missed cuts in a row, then win. I mean, that's Cam Champ to a T. So out of everyone in this range, I think it's incorrect to say that he doesn't have decent win odds. It's just he's terrible. It's you're getting a miscut or an absolute bust, or 1 out of 35 times he gets it done for you. So that's my case on Cameron Champ. So will he be in my MMA pool? Yes, he will. Do I love him? No, I don't. I think there's better plays down here, but I'll definitely have some exposure. I like the Carson Young call, like I already said. Going back up. So nasty Nate Lashley, former winner here. After his win, though, he's miscut, T57. But he's shown some form recently, too. So he profiles really well. 17th finish at the RBC Canadian Open, a T23 at the AT&T, T27 at the Wells Fargo. I think Nate Lashley, comes here, a place where obviously he's won, comes with some okay form. I think he could have himself a week. So I like Nate Lashley down here. Mark Hubbard, I get the flop lag, but man, it still looks like he's going to be chalk. And there's so many other plays here where it's like if Mark Hubbard ends up getting absolutely steamed, I could fade him here at a birdie fest. I mean, if this was like a grinded out type, I don't know. He has a T12 here in 2020. Then he's missed 2 cuts. He's coming off a missed cut. I think he missed on the number or pretty close to it at the Travelers. Outside of that, if you just eliminate the Travelers, I mean, his form is incredible. And that's why he's going to profile and project really well for the optimizers and the stats bros. But that's just going to push his ownership up. So I think my case on him is a good tournament fade if he projects as chalk. And if he doesn't, then you play him. But I do think he gets steamed up. So I think I'll end up underweight on him relative to the field in this range. And then going up here, let's see if there's anyone else I really like. And when I think about my builds, wanting to have JT in there, wanting to have Sung Jae, I think it's, again, going to leave me a little bit underexposed to the upper 7K range, which was my, which hurt me last week. A lot of those upper 7K guys are the guys that got it done. Keegan was in that range, for example, obviously got the win. But up here, this week, it's Aaron Rye, Taylor Moore, who's missed 3 cuts in a row, like you said, Locks. Davis Riley. Like, I can't convince myself to, like, play some of these guys over some of the flat 7K guys that we already mentioned. So I find myself being a little bit under on the upper 7K range. Not a lot. I mean, Justin Suh, I could definitely play him. He's been an absolute cut maker, but a lot of these other guys I'm fine being underweight or full fading. Let's keep it going. We got a nice mojo going. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate it. Snyder, I'm going right back to you, man. 6K range. I am opening it up a little bit more in the 6K range. Not fully going back all in on that stud and value route, but I will be playing some 6K players. Who do you like in this range this week?
Yeah, there's a few guys I like down here. I don't think I'm going to play that many guys down here. I'd rather just in my builds in that 7K range with some of those guys. I do like Novak. Missed cut last week after 4 straight made cuts. Flop leg option, so I'll go back to Novak.
I mean, there. Novak not only flop lag, but bench flop lag, and he only made one bogey or worse the entire round, and it happened to be a triple bogey, which was really hurtful. I can't believe he didn't get it done for us.
Yeah, it was definitely very hurtful. I had him on some of my decent teams there. Callum Tarrant, I really like his strong birdie upside here under 7K. He's made 3 of his last 4 cuts. I'll have him in the pool. David Lipsky is another solid option I like down here. He was 16th at the Charles Schwab, 12th at Memorial. And then Grayson Sigg is another guy I play kind of generally in these weaker type field events, and he's coming off a couple of made cuts there. He was top 20 last week and 38th in Canada. So I like him down here, but there's really not too many guys I'm high on down here. I just don't see too many guys. I mean, Chesson played pretty well. He's down here. Not going to play Hoffman, Ramey. There's some decent names down here. Sam Bendis down here. But I think I'm going to just try and stick to a few guys down here and try and end my builds in that lower 7K range with I think CT Pan and Lee Hodges and some of those guys. Kevin Yu. I only named one of my 3 soldiers in the 7K range. You have to check the other 2 out on the Twitter machine here tomorrow.
Yeah, very good. I just think one of these guys, at least one, is going to end up in the optimal this week. So I want to have some exposure down here, especially in these kind of, if you're spinning up for some of these studs. Locks, who do you like down in the 6K range?
Yeah, there's only a few names down here for me as well, because as I was mentioning, if you go Fowler, Kim, or 2 expensive guys, you can still end on that 7K range with plenty of comfortableness there. So I don't see myself getting down here a ton, but there is some names I do want to mention for you guys to play that are looking like solid values. So, I mean, Novak and Callum Tarrant, I'll play both of them up at the top of this range. Probably 2 of my favorite plays if you're going to play down here. Scott Stallings, I know he's looked awful lately, but another guy.
We lost him.
I we got to change this. I got it, Snyder. the Scott Stallings mention absolutely catapulted Locks out of the stream.
Well, there he is.
Oh, there he is. Are you sure you want to play Scott Stallings?
I am not playing Scott Stallings. There's no Scott Stallings.
Oh, that's too good.
I mean, that is awesome. I've never done that before. That was absolutely fantastic. So I'm crossing off Scott Stallings. That was a sign. Do not do it. He sucks. Course history aside. Going down here, Lipsky's a guy I will have some interest in for sure. $6,800. I'm plenty fine going there. I'll play a little bit of Grayson Sigg with you, Snyder. Don't mind him. I don't know about Zach Blair. I know somebody in the chat was asking, what do you feel about Zach Blair chasing the PGA card? Maybe you can throw a little bit of him in there. I mean, he looked damn good on Sunday, really all week. So if you want to play him, I mean, you can find worse guys at $6,700. So I don't mind that. Smother Goat, I'll probably have in my pool. Just for those builds where I want to go super crazy. And this is why I'm mentioning some of these guys, because I'll keep them in my pool just for the builds where if I want to try to jam 3 studs in there, I might end up down here. So guys, I will mention, you guys might laugh, but I'm going to throw in Troy Merritt. Great course history. I'll throw him out there. Eric Van Rooyen. Yeah, I'll ruin some of my lineups with him. That's okay. And then just looking down here, I mean, just other guys that have played this course well in the past. Richie Rurensky. I don't mind him. And then that's pretty much it for me, honestly. Kramer Hickok, I don't think I'm ever playing him again. I actually let you talk me into him.
No, we can't. He can't make birdies, man. We can't go to him.
Birdies anyway, so I'm not playing him.
Yeah, we definitely can't play him. Is that it for you down in this range?
That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. So for me, I just like going through it again. Like there are a few guys that hit the ball far that maybe could contend here, but again, it's a range that we're gonna not want to go crazy with. I don't mind the idea of mixing and matching a few of these guys in. I mean, Zach Blair looked incredible. And he has, he T10 at the Valspar. He's making cuts. Like the guy looked phenomenal last week. So I'm going to have him in my player pool. But again, I don't think you need to go crazy. He's one of those guys I put in there. If I get 5% of them, I feel good. I'm probably a little over the field. Yeah. I don't need any more than that. Mix him. I know I'm going to have him with that. That's why I'm also locking JT. So like all I got to do is root on JT. I'll open up the player pool a little bit. And if Zach Blair nukes in back-to-back weeks, I know I have him paired with my other guy who may hurt my feelings, to be determined, but I don't think he does. So that's just part of my strategy with opening it up a little bit down here. Chesson Hadley. So, okay, Scott Stallings. Now we'll see if I get booted out of here as well. But Scott Stallings is the interesting play. He's made the cut here every time he's played. He's been playing terrible. But you just got to think, like, he knows all it takes is one event, a good finish. He's coming off, like, his best year. Last year was one of his best seasons he's ever had. And now it's like one of his worst seasons. It's kind of crazy and funny how golf works, but that's just how it is. Not much is working with this game. But again, all I need is 5%. 5% of Stallings, I'm way overweight the field, so I'm fine with that. Chesson Hadley's the guy that actually, like, he always seems to turn it on at the end of the season and not turn it on relative to his price tag. Not like absolutely turn it on, but it seems like he just knows he's always having to grind here at the end. And we've seen a few rounds where he's been up there in the lead and everything, and then he always falls back on the weekend. And so that's one of his problems. I still think he's another guy that's a fine MME play because he's going to be grinding. He hasn't had the best success here. Again, another guy I'll probably have right around 5%. Callum Tarrant, another one of those guys, 6.9K. He showed some life last week. I think it was in round 3. Another guy, I'll be 5%. 5 to anywhere between 3 to 7%. I think I would be fine with him. Andrew Novak as well. My problem with Novak this week is, man, like he just could not make any birdies last week. Like the scoring was just really bad. So I worry a little bit about that with him. Vincent Norman, I think, is interesting. I'm not fading Novak just for the flop lag aspect. I got to go back to him. But Vincent Norman, he ranks 6th driving distance. I think he's a little interesting. Coming off 3 missed cuts, though. So kind of tough there. But again, all we want down in the 6K range, golfers that have shown some life over the last, 5 to 7 rounds. If there's a little bit of life there, I'm going to have a little bit of interest. So is there anyone down here that could potentially win? I don't think so. I mean, Zach Blair, almost got it done last week, T2. But again, I think it would be a reach asking him to do that again. Carl Yuan, I think I have a little bit of interest in him. He's shown a little bit of life. T18 at the RBC. He's 6,500, another guy that's going to be in my pool. Henrik Norlander, bad form, but again, he's made 3 cuts here, and he's shown upside. T12, T38, T30, not much upside with the T38 or T30, but with the T12. So my plan is just going to be to sprinkle a few of these guys in and hope some of them get there. I mean, Zach Johnson, another one, 6,500. No one's going to play him. He looked good last week at the Travelers, T29. I know our boy Big T was all over him too. I'm going to go right back to him. Again, this brings me back to what our boy, who was it, Mark, talking about the short hitters. I might be back on the short hitters with you, Mark. Zach Johnson, definitely a shorter hitter. I think my last guy, Augusto Nunez, he's a bomber. He's shown a little bit of upside. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts. I think he's another guy down here that I will sprinkle in. Let's get to our winners, and let's get to our final thoughts and get out of here. Snyder, who do you got winning this week?
I'm going to go towards the top with my outright winner. I think Tom Kim gets it done. He was 7th here last year. if he can just get everything kind of, it looks like it's really close. I think he's my winner this week. He's right around 18-1. And then my long shot is going to be a guy who's getting some steam. He opened at 70-1 to win this event, and he's down to 50-1. Austin Eckroat, I think he's got some major win equity here. He's been playing very good golf too. Finally gets priced up in that 8K range. He was second at the Byron Nelson. I think he can ship this event too. He finished T10 at the U.S. Open as well, so he's done it on an easier track and a harder track. So I think he's good. I'm going to go with the movement there down to 50-1.
Yeah, very good. Locks, who do you got winning this week?
Yeah, he took it right out of my mouth. I was going to go Tommy Kim.
That's what she said.
I'm gonna go with he's gonna be chalky. I'm gonna go Ricky Fowler, but I'm gonna go a very long shot with my long shot. I think Fowler's gonna finally win one here. He's due, man. I mean, he's back. He's been back all year. He's gonna come through for us one of these times. Why not at the Rocket Mortgage?
There he goes again.
Ricky's not winning this week. I know that for a fact. Ricky's not winning this week.
Ricky's not winning.
All right.
I mean, really? Really? Good thing I'm moving in like a week and a half.
That's what happens to Ricky every time he tees it up.
All right, so Ricky Fowler fade.
Scott Stallings.
Scott Stallings fade. All right. We got it locked in, guys.
Oh, my God. Good thing I'm moving in a week. Let me tell you. I'm closing on a house on the 7th, so I might need a sub on my show. But Ricky Fowler, I think he's going to do it for us. In all honesty, don't fade him. He's too good. He makes too many birdies. I think he's taking it home for us. And then my long shot, I'm going to go down the board. I'm going to go with our boy Carson Young. What are his odds? I'm going to go with Carson Young getting his maiden tour victory before Cam Young does, like someone asked in the chat.
Yeah, his odds are what? 100 to 1, something like that. 110 to 1.
Something like
I like those odds.
So that's mine, Carson Young.
Yeah, all right. We all know who I think is going to win. I think Justin Thomas is going to win. I think he's going to put up. I think he's going to be low 60s all week, or mid 60s, not a par 70 this week. So mid 60s all week. I think winning score is going to be 24 to 25 under. JT is going to nuke, and the faders are going to be in shambles. One of two ways. Faders in shambles or me in shambles again, once again. More likely me in shambles than the faders, but because that's how it's been going. But I got to go with my boy. What I saw last week outside of the putter looked really good. I got to go all in. I got to lock it in. And if he beats me, he beats me. I'll be opening up a nice bottle of whiskey to ease the pain a little bit. My long shot this week is, this is where it gets. I'm going to go Akshay. I think he also is right around 100 to 1. So
love it.
It's a reach, but man, those odds are pretty nice. And I mean, look, this guy's showing upside. I think the course is going to fit him very well. And we've seen random people win at these type of events quite often. Snyder, final thoughts this week.
Yeah, looking forward to this event. We'll have all the content up later tonight. The playbook I'll have up. The cash chart, I'll get that up as well. Round 1 showdown will be up tomorrow. I'll have some stuff out on Twitter as well. I'll have the soldiers out tomorrow. I only named one of my 3 soldiers in the 7K range breakdown, so make sure to tune in to the soldiers tomorrow to get the other 2. But looking forward to everything. Keep it rolling here as try and build off last week's success.
Yeah, very good. Locks, final thoughts.
Yeah, not much. We did the show a little earlier this week, so just a little bit more time to hone in everything. Obviously, pay attention to any news. Obviously, the withdrawal from Harris English, there could be more of that. So pay attention to all that. I know there is some rain in the forecast. We'll try to update you guys. I'm sure Snyder will be on point with that as we get closer to the tournament if it affects anything. But we'll be in there helping you guys out. Just pay attention to Discord, and let's keep running here.
Oh, rain would be even better. I mean, that's just going to help a guy that's dialed in with their irons. If we get rain in the forecast, give me all the ball strikers. Sung Jae, all those guys are going to be in play for sure. Just echoing what they said. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We got a promo going on. Summer 33. We got Big T and the premium show. They're going tonight, so we're going to have a lot of time to digest the content this week. And then, weather is something we're always going to look at. We'll be in Discord tomorrow, all the way up, looking at things. So get in there, answer questions if you haven't, and we will get them answered. With that, I'm AP Snyder, Locks Snyder. Get us out of here.